Did you know that even one of the NFL's best players can end up playing practically for free due to a controversial decision? That's right. Marlon Humphrey, one of the Ravens' top defensive players, decided to speak out and expose an unbelievable situation he faced after the playoff elimination. He received a heavy fine that almost completely wiped out what he would have earned from the most important game of the season. And the most shocking part, this raised a question that could change the way the league treats its athletes. Curious to know what really happened, why Humphrey decided to speak out now, and how this story could affect his future with the Ravens. Stick with me until the end, because every detail of this revelation will leave you feeling like something needs to change in the NFL. Go Ravens! Now imagine this. You play in a crucial game, give it everything you've got, risk your health, and leave the field with a fine that takes away almost all of the money you earn. That's exactly what happened to Marlon Humphrey after the Ravens lost to the Bills. He was hit with a $45,020 fine by the NFL for a helmet-to-helmet hit on quarterback Josh Allen. The problem? That fine ate up nearly all the payment he would have gotten for the game. In the end, he was left with only $480, and Humphrey didn't waste time venting about it. On social media, he posted a comment mixing irony with frustration. $480 to play an NFL game is insane. Probably gonna turn into $232 after taxes. It's clear from his words that he was upset. After all, this is a player who constantly puts himself at risk on one of the world's most physical leagues. On top of that, the playoff elimination was already hard to swallow, and the fine felt like another blow, adding to the emotional weight of everything he was going through at that moment. Humphrey's outburst raised an important question. Is the NFL's fine system fair? For many players, these penalties can seem disproportionate, especially when they come in critical games like the playoffs. And when a key player like Humphrey speaks out about it, he draws attention to a bigger issue. It's a criticism that goes beyond the situation and starts questioning the impact of these decisions on athletes' lives. This frustration isn't just about money. It's about respect for the effort and sacrifice every player makes. Humphrey made it clear that, in his view, the system isn't working properly. But what makes this even more significant is that this happened at a pivotal moment in his career, with his future with the Ravens uncertain. That brings up another important question. Was this the last time we saw Marlon Humphrey wearing a Ravens jersey? This uncertainty marks a turning point in his career and opens the door for us to reflect on his future with the team. Marlon Humphrey couldn't ignore the irony of the whole situation. He played in a game that defined the Ravens season, a moment where every play mattered, and in the end, he was left with only a small fraction of what he should have received. As if the playoff loss and the physical and emotional toll weren't enough, he also had to deal with the fact that, after the fine and taxes, he practically played for free. It's hard not to put yourself in his shoes and imagine how frustrating it must be to go through that. No wonder his comment went viral on social media. Humphrey's outburst wasn't just about the amount. It was about the lack of proportionality. He gave his all in one of the most important games of the season and ended up being severely punished, almost as if his contribution on the field didn't count for much. This sparked a debate among fans and experts. How fair are these fines, especially when they happen in high-pressure moments when players are already giving everything they have? These kinds of questions highlight how the penalty system impacts not just the athlete's wallet, but also their morale and motivation to keep going. Humphrey, a respected veteran in the league, saw his situation expose something that many other players probably face but never speak openly about. The NFL justifies these fines as measures to protect players' safety, but that doesn't lessen the financial and psychological impact on those who are penalized. And when it's a high-profile player like him, the discussion gets even louder. After all, if this happens to a top-tier athlete, what about those who are struggling to stay in the league? This irony only emphasizes how delicate Humphrey's situation is. Besides the frustration from the loss and the fine, there's uncertainty about what's next for him with the Ravens. This context makes his future even more uncertain, especially considering his contract situation and the emotional weight of the end of the season. Marlon Humphrey's statement raised a question that goes far beyond his fine. Is the NFL's penalty system really fair? For those who follow the sport, the rules are clear, but the impact of these penalties often seems disproportionate. In Humphrey's case, the fine almost nullified the payment he would have received for such an important game, leaving the feeling that the effort and risks taken by the players aren't always taken into account. This isn't a new issue, but the fact that an athlete of Humphrey's caliber brought it up gave this problem more visibility. The fines, according to the NFL, are meant to reinforce safety in the sport, but there are questions about how effective this is in practice. When Humphrey pointed out that he practically played for free, he hit on a sore spot that many players avoid discussing. The financial punishment might be a message from the league, but is it the best way to educate or prevent certain behaviors? This discussion gains traction because, in the end, it's the athletes' careers and well-being that are at stake, not just the numbers in the pay table. Moreover, Humphrey's statement opened the door to a reflection on the human side of the players. Often, people see these athletes only as well-paid professionals, but forget that they also have bills to pay, families to care for, and careers that can be dramatically impacted by these decisions. Humphrey didn't just talk about the fine. He also gave voice to a feeling that is surely shared by other players. He showed that even with his status, the penalties can feel excessively punitive. This reflection couldn't have come at a more delicate time for Humphrey, who is at a career crossroad. With no guaranteed money left in his contract, his future with the Ravens is uncertain. This uncertainty leaves fans wondering if the game against the Bills was, in fact, his farewell with the team. Well, we're past the halfway point of our video, but I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important for YouTube to keep recommending my content to you, so please leave a like on this video. It's free and helps a lot. Thanks. Now, let's continue. Although Marlon Humphrey is not officially a free agent, his contract situation leaves him in unstable territory. Without guaranteed money in his deal, he could very well be released or traded by the Ravens, depending on the team's plans for the next season. This instability makes it even harder to accept what happened in the game against the Bills. If that was indeed his last game with the Ravens, it couldn't have ended in a more frustrating way. A narrow playoff elimination, a hefty fine, and a series of uncertainties about what's next. Humphrey has been a key player for the Ravens defense, and his departure would leave a difficult-to-fill gap. However, the team faces financial challenges and may be forced to make tough decisions, especially with players who have high contracts and no remaining guarantee. He is still one of the best cornerbacks in the league, but depending on the circumstances, he could end up playing for another team next season. This possibility leaves one big question. Has he already said his last goodbye to the fans in Baltimore? If this really is the end, his departure would be marked by a combination of bad luck and controversy. The loss to the Bills would be painful on its own, but the fine and his frustration about the remaining payment added a layer of frustration to the end of his season. It's a farewell no one wanted to see, especially for a player who has given so much to the team over the years. But football is a business, and situations like this are part of the league's reality. Humphrey's future will be decided soon, but his statement on social media has already made an impact. Not only did he vent his frustration, but he also sparked a larger debate about the NFL, the players, and how the fine system affects athletes' lives. Regardless of where he plays, Humphrey has shown that he is more than just an athlete. He's someone who isn't afraid to question the system. What makes Marlon Humphrey a special player is not only his skill on the field, but also his courage to speak out about issues that many avoid. By exposing his anger over the fine and its financial impact, he opened an important discussion about the relationship between the NFL and its players. This is not something any player does, especially in such a delicate moment like a playoff elimination. But Humphrey showed that even in a tough situation, he's not afraid to be honest and take a stand. His outburst served as a reminder that players are more than just numbers or statistics. They are individuals who face unique challenges both on and off the field. Humphrey took the opportunity to highlight this, and his words quickly gained support from other athletes and fans. He turned a negative moment into a chance to create a broader discussion about the sport and the conditions players face. It's this kind of attitude that makes his legacy extend beyond what he accomplished on the field. Even if Humphrey doesn't stay with the Ravens, he has already left his mark on the team and the league as a whole. His skills as a cornerback are unquestionable, but his stance off the field has also become a strong point. He has become an important voice for athletes, and, with his statement, showed that he is willing to fight for what he believes in. That's something fans won't forget, no matter where he plays next season. For now, the only certainty is that Humphrey is at a crossroad. His future in the NFL may be uncertain, but his courage and honesty have shown that he has much more to offer. As the offseason progresses, Ravens fans are still waiting to see what the next chapter of this story will be. Marlon Humphrey did not stay silent in the face of this controversial NFL decision, and his words made it clear how much this fine fine affected him, sparking debates about how players are treated by the league. This situation also raises doubts about his future with the Ravens, as his current contract no longer is guaranteed. Now, the question remains, will Humphrey still wear the Ravens jersey next season? Or was this the last time we saw the cornerback on the field for the team? Let us know what you think about this fine and Humphrey's future with the Ravens. And don't forget, if you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any updates about the team. See you next time